We gather this morning on the unceded lands of the Muskogee Nation of Florida. We are grateful for this land and for those who tended it before us. We welcome all of you who have joined us in person this morning or are joining us on YouTube. If you're visiting us for the first time and you wish to know more about us and our faith, please refer to the back of your order of service. You'll also find more information on our website. As a member of this fellowship for over 20 years, I'm often asked by visitors, well, what binds your members together if you don't have a required creed for membership? Well, I reply that our UU principles are centered around expansive love, and we also focus on good example rather than dogma. If you are looking for a spiritual home where you can find acceptance and work towards a more just world, and a theology where you are safe to ask questions and express your doubts, then you found it right here. Please join us afterwards for light refreshments, and stay for our second hour, which composes of small discussion groups for the adults. And it starts at 11:15 through 12:15. There'll be announcement about the children a little later on what they'll be doing today. Today we're going to have three groups. The first one will be the speaker circle, and that meets around here. That's a discussion where we reflect upon what we heard this morning from the pulpit. And so I hope that you'll find an interest there. Also, across the hall, I believe that I don't see, oh yes, Lauren is here, Lauren Boyer will be leading a group on the histories of ancient religions. And then Cecile here will be conducting a choir rehearsal. And if you are visiting today and you like to sing, I don't think she would mind if you sat in and everything. So we have some announcements in our folder, and please take a moment to check your order of service for details. I know that we've got a new social project coming up with the cats and the dogs, and where we try to get some things and help the rescue animal people in the area. So keep that in mind. And now, the prelude takes us into our service. Sure, we'll light our candle this morning. Yeah, you're getting taller, that's why. All right, good job. Thank you. We gather this morning as one community, a community united by common ideals: love, justice, diversity, freedom, mutual care, equity. Yet, look around you. Look at the faces of those around you. Each face represents an individual. Every one of us with our own story, needs, strength, and faults. We light this chalice today, honoring our community, connections, and also the uniqueness that lives within each of us.
The opening words this morning are by Hafiz, a Sufi poet. Now is the time to know that everything you do is sacred. Now is the time to understand that all your ideas of right and wrong were just a child's training wheels to be laid aside when you could finally live with integrity and love. Now is the time to deeply compute the impossibility that there is anything but grace. Now is the season to know that all you do is sacred. Our first hymn from the great hymnal, and also on the screen overhead, is "We Are a Gentle, Angry People." Please rise in body or spirit as we sing.
Well, it's that time of the service. It's time for all ages, and we invite our young people to come and sit on the front row here so they won't miss a word. And Miss Amy has a story for us to think about.
I have to be barefoot, guys. I'm sorry. So this is a little. Do you know what serendipity is? Like something happens and then serendipity. Like something good happens because something happened before and you don't realize they're going together. So Reverend Kathy did a Sufi reading as an opening, and I'm jumping in to do the story, and my favorite person to tell stories about is Mullah Nasruddin. So, do you know what a mullah is? Mullah, M-U-L-L-A-H. No, not a mullet, not like a haircut. So, he's in the Islamic tradition, he's like a teacher. So Mullah Nasruddin was a Islamic teacher in his little town, and they have a statue of him him. We don't know if he was a story or not, but they have a statue of him in Uzbekistan, so that may be where he's from. So now, do you know what a wise fool is? Someone who acts like a fool, but what they're saying is really, really wise. Right. Okay, so Mullah Nasruddin had been out all day, and he dropped his keys. And it was dark. It was very dark. It was late at night. So Mullah Nasruddin bent down and tried to find his keys. But he couldn't find them. And then he saw that there was a street light over there. So he went over to the street light and started looking for his key there. And his friend came by and said, Mullah Nasruddin, what are you doing? And he said, I dropped my keys by the front door and I can't find them. And the friend said, why are you looking over there? And he said, well, it's darker and you only look at people who look like you, or you only look at people who are sitting, look like they're having fun. And maybe you don't look in the place where the one person is sitting by themselves. And that could be your friend for life. Some people go looking for God or their religion, and they go to the place where their parents told them to go all their lives. And one day they grow up and they realize they'd been looking in the wrong place the whole time. So Mullah Nasruddin is telling us, don't just look where the light is. Look over in the dark where the thing that you lost is, and maybe you'll find it. Okay?
It's a great story. We could all learn from that. That's certainly true. Well, our lives are filled with joys, milestones, and concerns. At this time, you're invited to come up, tell us your name, take a pebble, glass pebble, and put it in the water, and then silently or in a few words, share with us so that we may celebrate or support you. Please remember not to share information about another person unless you have their permission to do so. Okay?
I place a final stone in the glass for all those joys and concerns that are too tender to be shared. Please join now in a spirit of reflection, meditation, engage fully in our own life and in our community. Spirit of community, help us know how linked we are, how each one of our cares touches all of us. Help us to ask for support when we're in need and to offer support to others when we're able, so that all of us might rest in the solace of one another's care. Spirit of love and care, help us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, so that we might fully embody love and resist hatred. Spirit of resistance, help us to stick up for what is right, even when we're tired or afraid. Help us to dream of the world as it should be and act to bring that world about. Help us each day to find hope. Spirit of hope, help us through this day, through each day, through all the days of our lives. Blessed be. Amen.
Our fellowship is supported, right pledge on it. All undesignated checks and cash will be divided equally between
Once upon a time, there was an abbot of a monastery who was very good friends with the rabbi of a local synagogue. It was Europe. Times were hard. The abbot found his community dwindling and the faith life of his monks shallow and lifeless. Life in the monastery was dying. The abbot went to his friend the rabbi and wept. Sometimes we know it best when we come upon its absence or its failure. Each summer when heat waves strike, each winter when overwhelming blizzards blow through, during hurricane season, we hear of individuals dying of weather-related causes. And while the heat or the cold or the hurricane is the killer, the stage is set for fatalities by the absence of community. Many of those who die live alone, with no one, no family or friends to check in on them or notice their distress. With sad regularity, the media provide us of reports of a breakdown in community where someone was attacked because of their identity or was victimized in a crime and nobody stopped or stepped in to help despite hearing their distress, or even worse, believing they deserved what was happening to them. We've descended into a period in our national life when polarization, coming apart, rejecting, rather than coming together and embracing is the norm. When the value of important foundations of community, fundamental rights, programs to support those who struggle or are unable to support themselves are gutted, while those with power and resources are given even more. I take care of my own, you take care of your own, and then if you're about to take some of what is mine, you better watch out. Despite our having been drawn into global community through interconnections of economies and technology, those interconnections are fraying as we practice forms of exploitation and doing business that deny any possibility of community by transforming the other person into something less than human. Now, congregations have long been the place where individuals could gather and enjoy a sense of community ever since the time of the first churches. But like every other form of community, even the church community can fray, be revealed as having gaps. Divisions surface around where to spend the money, how to use the building, the language in Sunday services, the relationship with the UUA, our national body, what justice efforts deserve primary support. And when those divisions appear, the bonds holding us in community can seem threatened. And when we do reach the breakdown of community in the congregation, in the neighborhood, in the culture, in the world, we cast about for some way to restore it. For we know, even without the distressing daily news to remind us that outside of community, we falter, even die, that our lives mean so little if we don't have life together. The abbot went to his friend and wept. His friend, the rabbi, comforted him and told him, "There's something you need to know, my brother. We've long known in the Jewish community that the Messiah is one of you." "What?" exclaimed the abbot. "The Messiah is one of us? How can that be?" But the rabbi insisted that it was so, and the abbot went back to his monastery comforted, even excited. Once back in the monastery, walking down the halls and through the courtyard, he would pass by a monk and wonder, is that the Messiah? Sitting in chapel, praying, he would hear a voice and look at a face and wonder if that was the one. And he began to treat all of his brothers with respect, with kindness, with reverence, and it became quite noticeable. Ask almost any person anywhere why they participate in a church of almost any sort, and one of the first responses you'll receive is that the church provides a sense of community. More important than a ticket to heaven, or the reassurance of having a correct worldview, or an improved social standing, or a direct line to God, or any of those other predictable reasons people go to church, is the experience of community that they expect and often find in a congregation. But press on with the conversation and ask the person who enjoys a sense of community at their church to define what that sense of community means, or to describe what it looks like or feels like, and the response may go in drastically different directions. For some, a sense of community is a variety of social togetherness that may differ from other experiences of social togetherness because of a particular quality of friendliness. Or a sense of community may come from being in the presence of others who are my kind of people, who think like me. This response is especially popular among Unitarian Universalists, no doubt because we're so accustomed to finding ourselves the odd duck, the ones who aren't like the others, who think in very different ways from those around us. Or the answer may shift from a focus on the quality of community life and describing traits of the community to how the individual experiences themselves within the community. In this case, a sense of community may be characterized as stemming from the experience of being welcomed and accepted in the group. I can just be myself. I can say what I think without being criticized. A community embraces the individuals who come to it without judgment. And while all these definitions are useful, none of them accurately gets at the real meaning of community. In fact, they actually point to some of the ways in which a sense of community can get lost, compromised, changed into something very different than real community. Friendliness, like-mindedness, acceptance of the individual without requiring them to be somebody different. However pleasurable those experiences may be, they are not the hallmarks of a community. And to the extent that we become preoccupied with generating those experiences for ourselves, we may risk losing the community we do have. I was given a key lesson in the meaning of community by a member of one of my previous UU congregations, an elderly woman who was not able to attend Sunday services easily because of the many challenges in getting up and getting out that aging had created for her. One day I was talking with her about Sunday plans when I was scheduled to speak at another church, because the member had made clear how much she enjoyed my sermons, and because I can be quick to assume that Sunday mornings are all about me, I commented that she would probably be spending that particular Sunday relaxing at home with the New York Times, since I wasn't going to be speaking. But she brought me up short when she replied, "Oh no, I'll be going to the service this Sunday. I always try especially hard to attend on Sundays when I think there may not be many people there because the subject or the guest speaker doesn't sound appealing. I go to make sure that somebody is present and to be there for the others who will come." A remarkable comment in a time when most discussions about churches of all kinds focus on what people will get from going there, when our culture tells us always to judge an experience by what might be in it for us. This aging member attended in order to be sure that somebody was there and to be there for others. Oh, I'm sure she likely did get something for herself, but her focus was on attending for the sake of all the rest of the congregation. And this exchange has become for me a distillation of what community is ultimately about. And it is not about what I get, but about what I bring, about what I give, about my commitment to the others in the community, about my willingness to be here for others as much as one of the other monks came to the abbot and asked him what had happened to him. After a bit of coaxing, the abbot told what the rabbi had said. And soon that monk was looking at his brothers differently and wondering. The word spread through the monastery quickly. The Messiah is one of us. Soon the whole monastery was full of life, kindness, and grace. The prayer life was rich and passionate. The psalms and services were alive and vibrant. And the surrounding villagers were coming to the services and listening and watching intently. And there were many who wanted to be part of the community. John Courtney Murray, a Catholic theologian, once described the earliest churches as a form of conspiracy because the members had learned to conspire, conspire, with breath, to breathe together. Though regarded by outsiders as a sinister behavior, those in the church understood themselves to be practicing a shared way of life, grounded in common values which would be meaningful for those within the congregation and had the potential to be meaningful for the rest of the world as well. By joining in community, they were enabled to be better people than they could have been if left to their own devices. We Unitarian Universalists have frequently seen ourselves regarded as suspicious characters, and even sometimes we're assumed to be members of a cult, because we appear to hold values that are at odds with the rest of the culture, which is always what spiritual communities have been supposed to be about. To maintain a value system that challenges, not endorses, the ways of the world. The people who make up the community here of this fellowship have since its beginning been conspirators, breathing together, joining in an intentional community that supports you and your children as you grow into better people than you would have become without your presence and participation here. People who have learned to breathe together can afford to think differently, and the diversity of ideas and lifestyles in a community becomes not a threat, but an enrichment. I may initially enjoy coming here because of the presence of like-minded people, but it is the people who are of a very different mind than me who will be the greatest facilitators of my spiritual growth. One study of spiritual community characterized it as, that's the place where the person you least want to live with lives. The challenge of learning how to be with that person I do not want to live with, how to forge some sort of relationship with him, how to listen compassionately to her sharing of joys and concerns, how to stand beside them as we sing hymns and exchange greetings, how to engage them in conversation and coffee hour, to fit someone like all those different people into my own understanding of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. That challenge will carry me further along my spiritual path than any meditation technique or great book can ever do. As newcomers entered the monastery, after taking their vows, they were told the mystery, the truth that their life was based upon, the source of their strength and life together. The Messiah is one of us. The monastery grew and expanded, and all the monks grew in wisdom and grace, and they say still, if you stumble across this place where there is life and hope and kindness and graciousness, that the secret is the same. The Messiah is one of us. A place of life and hope. Almost a miracle these days, when hatred and demonizing of differences is all about us. almost a miracle that we might come together in a place, in a community where all that noise is lessened, where a completely different quality is present. Yet those forces are powerful, and they're always seeking to gather us up into them to make us part of that collective mindset where meanness is encouraged, where seeing another as evil or dangerous or the devil incarnate, rather than seeing the other person as the Messiah, as a sacred creature worthy of respect, is the usual way of engaging. Yet against such great odds, here we are. Here we gather week after month after year, a community of people with gifts and flaws. Our last hymn from the Teal hymnal is number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. The words will be overhead. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing. Words of the benediction are by Peter Rabel. We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we never knew. All our lives we are ever connected in community. Shalom, salam, namaste, blessed be, amen. Please remain seated for the postlude.
Thank you all for coming and supporting one another. And thank you for all the people who put this service together. And we'll see you at the back for coffee. And hopefully you'll stay for second hour. Gave us a lot to think about. It's just so hard to be totally, need that. We need that wisdom. Yeah, I did use some. Interesting. I also had a presentation here, but you tried.